So roughly 24 hours after the New York Jets extended wide receiver Garrett Wilson, they go ahead and hand out an almost identical contract to cornerback Ahmad Gardner, 4 years, 120 million. And I think it's important to note with both of these contracts, when these players are extended early, it's not going to kick in until the end of their rookie contract. So it'll be 2027 and beyond. So in reality, both Sauce and Garrett will be under contract with the Jets for the next 6 years for 25 million a year each, which is combined about 17% of the salary cap as it stands for both of them. And obviously that percentage will decrease as the cap increases, just to give some perspective on the money. And I think that if when these two were drafted in 2022, number 4 and number 10 overall picks, if we would have said, hey, in 3 years from now, obviously we would have hoped the team did more winning, of course, but in terms of individual performance, we said 3 years from now, Garrett will have put up 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. And if you look at some of the numbers, the other players in NFL history who have had at least, the 80 catches and 1,000 yards, 3 straight seasons, it's like Jamar Chase and Odell Beckham Jr. and Michael Thomas and Justin Jefferson are his contemporaries. 3 of those guys played with Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and one of them at least played with Kirk Cousins, who was mediocre for multiple seasons. Those are all better quarterback situations than the totality of what Garrett Wilson has had. And for a lot of those games, it was a bad quarterback behind a bad offensive line with a bad offensive coordinator. So he's produced with Garrett. And with Sauce, I think that it's probably more unanimous with Garrett among at least the Jet fans that I talk to. But I look at it this way. If I were to tell you, okay, that's what Garrett, check, 1,000 yards, no matter who the quarterback is, 25 years old, durable, consistent. You have him 25 million a year over 6 years. Beautiful. With Sauce, if I would have told you he's going to be the first corner in NFL history to be a first team All-Pro in his first 2 seasons, if he had the down year in 2022, his rookie year, and then the last 2 years were his All-Pro seasons, I don't think anybody is even questioning it with Sauce. And since he's come into the league, the total of those 3 years, in terms of the primary job of a cornerback, which is to prevent other wide receivers from getting open and catching the football, he has done that as well as anybody not named Patrick Surtain. And I think if you're the Jets, it's simple. You're banking on him looking more like the 2022 and 2023 version of himself, the first team All-Pro version of himself, than last year's. And if he looks like that, it'll be worth it. And if he doesn't, it'll be an overpay, but not even to the extent that I think some people think. I think we exaggerated his down year a little bit. But yeah, that's the way I see it. If you could take a time machine, go back and say, hey, 3 years from now, Garrett's going to be 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Sauce is going to be 2 first-team All-Pros. Not a Pro Bowl, not a second-team All-Pro, 2 first-team All-Pros within his first 3 seasons, and they're both going to be extended at market value for the team. We would have said that's a slam dunk outcome for those 2 individual draft picks. And now from an organizational standpoint, I think it's worth noting that this is not typically what the Jets do. Now, a big part of it is they haven't had a ton of really good players that they've drafted that are worth extending after 3 years. But whether it's been a combination of ownership and previous front offices have liked to let these things drag on, Quinnen Williams being the most recent example of that. So to get it done after year 3, when these prices only go up, you do it. Any other team that drafted Sauce and Garrett, who had them perform like this, would have paid them this relative amount of money after year 3. So it's just, you do what you do. You keep your good players and you keep it pushing, and hopefully you win some games. And we'll talk.